than restaurant. Yeah, I know. But that still doesn't make them good. You can have a bad business model, and that's an exact fucking demonstration of that.
We are in at least
It's like Domino's or fucking worse, Pizza Hut. It's a business
Slices
model.
are pretty good. Crust seems soft. Cheese to sauce ratio, maybe a little heavy on the cheese.
Like good pulse in the processor? No.
Flavor of the sauce is great. Cheese
It doesn't get a
very well
blade.
melted. Flavor-wise, this is solid.
The
Just a
blade
little
is
bit
on the
undercooked.
food processor,
Don
but no,
Pepe,
it's not
this
the
is
same. But
next
I guess
please slice.
that would be as
Next
close
please.
too.
Next, please. Next, please. They're cranking these out, churning and burning.
It is slow cook. Yeah, and that's like a traditional like tomato sauce for like what you would do in the sense of like
We're
a
in the
classic
Bronx.
French thing. But for a pizza,
Louis
it's
and
different.
Ernie's. This is looking really good.
San Marzano, yeah.
This sauce
you can.
and cheese
And then you just
is
go in there and you
perfect.
just crush it with
It's
your hands.
Absolutely perfect.
That's it.
My only critique of this
can
slice
do
so
that
far
too.
is that the crust is a tiny bit thin. Louis and Ernie's, this is the home slice. Doesn't feel like we're in the city anymore. It feels like Louis or Ernie invited us over, came into the
Oh,
basement,
wow.
had a pie waiting,
Holy
and then
shit.
you run out into the back patio. Feels like you're in someone's home. This, it's all about
You
family.
are kind of in somebody else. Look at that. Yeah,
For West Side Slice,
exactly. It mashes it.
we're at Sal and Carmine's Pizza.
That's why I was saying,
And according to
if
the
you
neon
only have a food processor,
window,
yeah,
should
but
be
honestly, you'd be
crispy
better just taking
and
your
large.
hands and doing this.
Looks about the same size as usual, but let's see about the crispiness. There's a lot of cheese, but the crust still supports it. It's
You
not
could. Just use your
overbearing,
hands.
It's not too much.
Super spy.
Not the crispiest
Don't
slice
overthink
that
it.
we've had, but the flavor here is pretty good.
Take your tomatoes,
Right amount of
put them in a
salt,
fucking bowl, mash them
tiny
with
bit
your
of
hands.
sweetness
Done.
from the tomatoes. A little bit of garlic. I'm like
Yo, 420 in Halifax. We got the weird 420.
Sal and Carmine's. This is the roller rink slice. Makes me
The
feel like I'm at
roller
a childhood
rink
friend's birthday
slice.
party. Big old pie gets slapped down on the table. Pull a slice off.
that
Super
does not look
cheesy.
good.
Smoke weed every
This is
day.
nostalgic pizza.
That looks like I own a pizza shop because it's a moneymaker, not because I actually care about making good pizza.
Last stop in Manhattan, the end of day one. We're in East Harlem at Patsy's. And their slice is a little bit different from what we've been having today.
Can't even tell, man.
This is
that
like
red
almost
light doesn't do
a
anything for you.
cross between a New York slice and a Neapolitan slice. Flavor of the tomato's good.
Oh,
It's
maybe that's
very,
what it is.
Very
So we're
baseline.
talking
It's
about
almost
Newfoundland.
like just tomato, not a lot of garlic, not a lot of salt, not a lot of fat from olive oil. This isn't number one. This isn't the New York slice I'm looking for. Still a good slice though. The vibe inside is classic. And I think this, the Patsy slice.
So Halifax
this
is at the
sit-down
hour. Somebody
slice.
came in and
I
was
wanna
talking
enjoy
about
this
that before.
Inside. This isn't what I want to do, typical New York style. I don't want to eat this on the sidewalk. I want to sit down.
Where's that?
Like that guy said, Patsy's, that's where it's at. I want to eat this inside. One day down, I am not feeling the best.
Yeah.
I've eaten quite a bit of pizza today. As
Yeah.
of right now, my top three, I think, are
At least
in no
he's been
particular
walking
order,
everywhere.
Scars, Joe's, and Sal and Carmine's.
Phil, you fix it. Do me a favor. Pull your weight. Okay?
New borough alert. First slice of day two, right near JFK
You
Airport.
pack a heavy
We're
shit-talking
out here
voice.
in Queens.
Why don't
but
you,
everyone
why
was
don't you
saying this
pack
is the slice I needed to try.
a tech-solving issue
We're gonna try it.
instead, huh? Tell you how? What, you want me
Really
to tell you
well
to wipe your
seasoned.
ass
The
too?
cheese
Get to
has,
work.
Like, the right amount of salt going on. Same with the sauce. Not too much sauce, not too much cheese. It's kind of like the perfect ratio on top of this crust, which has some really nice color on it. It's chewy and crispy. If every slice I have today is gonna be like this one, we're in for a good day. New Park Pizza, this is the vacation slice. You're out here to
The
be at the
vacation
airport, you get
slice.
out of here, or you're at the Rockaways, the beach, which New York has.
Oh, Super Spy, don't
Feeling
even
good?
worry.
Vacation vibes are here.
You're not doing it in a negative, weird way.
We're in Brooklyn.
Also, yeah, 6 number 10 cans.
And we're at L&B.
If you
Spumoni
if
Gardens.
you work in a restaurant, just invest in a
This slice,
fucking
in the sauce, you can tell there's
a food
oregano
mill.
going on. This
They're
is
not
like
expensive.
Super herbal. We haven't had a
And
slice
most
of this
kitchens
herbal
should
so
have one
far,
anyway.
which I do like, but the dough is just
Damn.
a little undercooked.
Ooh.
I'll call this right now. I don't think I'm looking at number one here. You look around, not a lot of people are going for the triangular plain slice. They're doing this, which is actually one of my favorite slices in New York. And I couldn't go here and not order one. This is just for me.
See, this is one of those moments too where I'm like,
We're here for this. It's called L&B Spumoni Gardens. This is the garden pie. Eat it outside at the picnic table.
Yeah.
Enjoy the day.
Yeah, we get a handful of weird of them. Yeah. Adam. Yeah, you're up.
Oh, hey. We're in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, at Lenny's Pizza.
Oh, hey.
Good crisp on the bottom of it, a little bit chewy, but this is definitely cheese heavy. I'm not getting that nice back and forth between the cheese and the sauce.
The back and forth. I like that. I'm not getting that
so
nice
far.
back and
Lenny's
forth
Pizza,
between the cheese and the
this
sauce.
is the strut slice, easy to hold while you're cruising down the street.
Oh, but you got the celebrities in there? Shit.
Plain slice at Nino's
Oh, we
Pizza.
doing some major docking on that one.
Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. This is
Major
looking really
docking.
good, fresh out of the oven. I'm ready to eat this thing.
Yeah, did you
So
look
this
it up?
is an extremely balanced
This
slice.
thing called Google.
Good ratio, good flavor in the cheese.
Yeah, food
just
meals
enough
are
salt,
amazing. Definitely get one.
Little air
They make them in
pockets
different
the dough.
sizes, so it's like you could
I
put a
just
whole
want
number
little
10
more
can
color
in
on
one of
this, but overall, this is a solid slice. Nino's, this is the neighborhood watch slice. I don't think we've been talked to, shouted at, questioned at all. Really. But in Bay Ridge, everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to tell you about this pizza.
I love that.
Neighborhood
That's
watch.
a total New York
Don't
thing
show.
right there. It's like, nobody's yelled at us. This is neighborhood watch. People know to like, if you're gonna be a dick, you better be a
Gotta
dick
respect
while
the sign.
walking through fast.
You gotta respect that sign. Because we're at Tafara Pizza in Brooklyn. I'm done waiting. I'm gonna eat this. Cheese to sauce ratio, perfect. Color on the cheese, awesome. There's a nice crispness on the bottom. We waited close to an hour to get this slice of pizza. Is it worth it? Sure. But this isn't a New York slice. I'm not in and out. I'm not paying $2.50. This was $5. Tafara Pizza.
Oh wow,
This is the time to kill slice. You better find something to do while you're waiting.
$5. But if you eat that and you're like, yeah, $5.
We're in Park Slope, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
At Smiling Pizza.
Double cheeseburger, large cheese curds, and a strawberry sugar cookie from Culver's.
There's
Nice,
a lot
dude.
of cheese on this slice. Crust isn't quite as crispy as I want it to be. The vibe in
$5
there
and an
kinda
hour
reminded
wait.
me of,
You
like,
saw
when I
how
was a
that
kid,
the guy that owns it, man.
and if you won or you lost
an
the
institution.
championship, you'd go get pizza to celebrate regardless. This is the nostalgia
That's a
slice.
call in.
Wooden booths, neon signs, friendly guy.
If a place has got a number and you can call in an order, call that shit in. You better call that shit in.
Guy serving you pizza, smiling.
Super
Stop,
Sai, that's up to you. Do your thing. Do it with and do without. See what you think.
We're on Havemeyer Street in Williamsburg at Best Pizza. And I've got a bud with me. This is my friend Anthony Falco. You might recognize him
Seeds tend to be bitter.
as the former Pizza Czar at Roberta's.
Especially when they've been
and
broken
now
up.
Probably has the coolest job title of all time, International Pizza Consultant.
What?
That's it. That's my job. It's literally what I do.
It's like 5 years old.
There's no tomato paste in there. There's no sugar in there. I mean, the sweetness is coming from the quality of tomatoes. The basil on top, it's just a touch of class, you know?
I mean, I'm right there with Anthony. This is a fantastic slice.
I mean, they call it best pizza for a reason.
There you go.
This guy was like,
And-
this guy's like, where were you going? Where are you going to eat pizza? I'll meet you at this place. I'll meet you at this place.
I eat a lot of pizza. Like, when it's really full tilt, like top level, that's the full Mamma Mia.
The full Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
Best pizza, the Mamma Mia slice.
The place is called Best Pizza.
Another Williamsburg slice.
Oh, I imagine so.
The industry. This crust looks absolutely amazing.
See?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
see?
The industry.
Come on.
There's acidity happening in the sauce. It's not overly sweet. The crust follows suit. It's awesome. It's chewy and crispy. This is a crazy good slice, but that cheese on top, I wish it wasn't
Oh.
there. Lindustry,
Oh.
this is the Brando slice.
What the
Could have been a contender.
fuck?
Could have been somebody.
Oh, you guys couldn't even see all that.
All right, we are on the always busy Bedford Ave in Williamsburg,
That
Brooklyn.
cheese- that
and we
cheese
are
was
at
what?
Denny's.
I don't
Bottom, want a
understand.
little more color in there. It's
I
like
do like the Ninja Turtle
almost
thing out
crispy
there.
enough. The sauce has nice flavor
Yeah.
to it. The cheese like dominates this slice though. It's very cheesy. Not a bad slice though. Vinny's Pizza. This is the pop culture slice. Everything going on in there.
Oh wow, yeah, look at
Things
that.
you know, things you've seen. You know this slice. The pop culture slice. Astoria, Queens at Rosario's. That's like a legitimate Italian deli. Rosario's uses mozzarella that they make in-house, and I can see through the cheese. There's plenty of sauce coverage. God. This cheese is great. You get that cheesy and milky mozzarella flavor. It's not the low moisture mozzarella. That extra moisture from the cheese, it dilutes the sauce a little bit. Rosario's, this is the pantry slice. You walk in, you get your pasta, your canned tuna, your roasted red peppers. You're stocking up the pantry, but you're not leaving without a slice.
It's like going to Costco and not getting a hot dog or something. Oh, Ozzy, yeah. I would hope so.
Another Brooklyn slice at Luigi's. The vibe in there is awesome. It's super old school, right out of the 70s. It's killer.
Holy shit, yeah. If you got that
This is
menu on the
extremely
wall
well-seasoned.
still,
Sauce, not overly sweet, just a little bit. You get a nice tomato flavor. The cheese layer is thin and it's crispy.
oh, they do the oil
Across the
on
board,
top
this is
too.
a really good slice. My only critique of this is that the crust itself is a little bit wide. Luigi's, this is the Broadway slice. We're not on Broadway, but it's a classic New York slice. And when you see those lights, there's no way you're not stopping.
That's a foldable piece.
And now the moment you've all been waiting for, me standing barefoot in the sand, Empire State Building behind me, about to tell you what the 3 best New York slices are.
All right, let's hear what he
Number
thought.
3, in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, best pizza. Elevated ingredients across the board, but respect
that was
to the
number
classic
3.
New York slice. Number 2, all the way out near JFK in Queens, New Park Pizza. Everything about that slice was awesome. Whoa, dough was perfect, crust was
Oh, the
perfect.
vacation slice?
Cheese to sauce ratio.
That was number
killer.
2?
Love that slice. So what's the best plain slice in New York? Scar's Pizza on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Everything about that slice, the sauce, the cheese, the crust, the flavor throughout, spot on. And the vibe inside that place, I want to hang out there all day, all night, wake
Oh,
up
wow,
the next
yeah.
morning and come back. But these
Looks
were
like an
my
old
spots.
diner kind of
If I
thing.
didn't make it to a spot that you thought should have been on this
All
list,
right.
your favorite,
I think
I
what
wanna
he
hear
meant by
about it.
the
Let me know in
crust
the
is
comments
broad
below.
by the
Thanks for
like
hanging out.
exposed crust.
Thanks to
Like
New York
most
for
of the
serving up
time,
slices all day.
I feel like
I'm Alex Delaney. Bon
when you're getting a pizza crust, right? You maybe get about like this. That's like what you want, something to hold on to, but not that's going to be a majority of what you're, like, oh, that's going to be 10% of the pizza. While that one looked like it was probably more like 20. You know what I'm saying? So, old ass means the great food. Yeah, they nailed it down and that was it. Which I'm like, nice. But that was interesting. I don't know how many of those places are still open or what, The area from the raised apart from the sauce was wide. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like there's too much crust showing. I just want a little bit of crust. Not a lot of it. Not a lot of it. All right, you guys were asking what's for lunch. Okay? We're heating up the pan right now. Oh. I changed it, but I didn't change it back. Hold on. I only have 3 buttons. I only have 3 buttons. Who did that? Adam did that. Hold on, Adam. Adapt. There we go. How do you feel about stuffed crust? I don't really care. Hold on. You did it as soon as I got into the chicken, so you're going to have to wait. It's the price you pay. Price you pay for poor timing. Just want to take the bone out. But don't worry, don't worry. The sun comes up more than I would like it to. We need to make this, we need to bring back this thing now. This playlist. Don't worry. Like a surgeon. Operating for the very first time. Yeah, right, like a surgeon. Like somebody who's just stoned. You want to see somebody that's like a surgeon with their chicken cutting abilities? Yen Can Cook. Anybody remember that one? Yen Can Cook? You ever watch that? That guy can debone a chicken, a full chicken. Not debone, I guess just break it down. He can do it in, basic if you blink, you miss it. Amazing individual. I'll look that, that'll be another video we look up after we get lunch done.
Guess what?
What?
I got a fever.
Yeah?
And the only prescription is
So?
more cowbell.
Yeah? You think so? I'm just taking out some of these tendies. Hard to break down when you're just searing off. So we're just going to take those out. We can make a little stock with that later. There we go. Okay? Beautiful. I seasoned this yesterday. That is some old school. All right, hold on. Now I can actually smoke. I started to save for the day that somebody redeems the VIP bomb. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm sure Wicked showed you the good news, right? I'm sure she did. Because if she didn't, I can't believe it didn't happen. It should have happened. Should have been. You know what I mean? I gotta do a thing. Mods get their own sound alerts. Norgoth has one. Bob, Guy, Nicole. So it's only fair. That Wicked has one too. Yeah, no worries. It was literally a moment where I realized I didn't have any mods in the house. So there we go. So let's talk about what we're making today for our lunch. We've got focaccia. We're going to make a little sandwich out of this. So we've got a garlic aioli left over from the other day. We're going to use that. Boom. Okay? It's got a little pickled shallot in there. That's okay. Then we've got a little salsa verde left over as well. So we're going to use that for this beauty. Just a touch. There we go. Then we've got some mozzarella that we're going to use too. We need to use that up. We're not going to use a lot, but we're going to put some on there. Did you order something from the Geek Squad? Not today. We ordered those. We ordered the mounts in the TVs the other day. What is that? Did we get an email or something? Get Jess a pizza. We got to get a pizza oven. That's what we got to get. We had pizza last night. Let me tell you something. I don't think we found a pizza place yet. That's interesting. Which channel did it say you were a mod that you weren't? Pizza Stone? What about a Pizza Stone? I don't want to get a Pizza Stone. I want to get a Pizza Oven. We live in our forever house. Okay, just for you. Yeah, because I haven't ordered anything. You're my only VIP channel. Weird. Very strange. All right. We're just going to make this sandwich and cut it in half. What else?